God! Oh crap! Wait! Don't!
That was a person.
During a nighttime investigation in a forest, the team kept their spirit communication device running while moving farther down the trail.
Spirit talker. See what we get on this. I'm going to leave the app running and stick it in my pocket so I can use my torch because it's absolutely pitch black.
Can you come close to us and make these lights go off, please? That's how we know that you're here around us.
You can use the device here in my pocket to talk to us.
Beware of the dark.
Beware of the dark.
Thanks for that. We're in the middle of the forest now.
In the
Could have told
dark.
us down there.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the main road.
Why do we need to beware? Is there somebody here that we should beware of?
The mood changed quickly. Soft whispers and distant voices seemed to drift around them, raising the fear that someone might be nearby. Reports of unusual activity in the area only made the tension worse.
Is there somebody following us? A lot of different people have seen strange things in this forest. Are you one of those things? What was that a minute ago? Hello? Hello? I just saw you. We're just here for a walk. We're not going to do anything, just shout back so we know you're there. That was a person. Hey?
I wasn't looking that way.
Oh, there's a car coming down the thingy track. What's he doing down here? There's been no cars coming down here the whole time we've been here.
Suddenly, movement in the trees revealed a shadowy figure. Moments later, a vehicle appeared on a remote road where no traffic had passed all night.
What? That was a scream. Holy shit, David.
The screen?
Did you hear the woman scream?
Yeah.
David, he's walking up. He's walking up the road. He's gone to the road. Get in the car. Oh shit. Open the door. Get in the car. Get in the car. A woman's just pissed and screamed and he's just creeping down the road, Law. Look at him, he's there. He's there on the road.
Right, get him, film him.
David, pull off.
What do you mean?
Start the car.
Then a scream echoed through the distance, almost right after a man carrying a flashlight stepped out and began walking toward them without a word. They hurried back into their car and locked the doors as he kept approaching, realizing he may have been watching them long before they noticed him. Was he connected to the scream they had heard moments earlier? While walking through the forest on a misty morning, a man noticed something strange ahead, a dark shape that looked almost human standing near the tree line. It did not move or make any sound, remaining perfectly still. The sight made him uneasy. Was it only a shadow formed by the fog and branches, or was something else truly present in the woods that day? Back in 1994, a woman and her family were camping near the forests of Columbia County, Ohio, when a long, chilling howl broke the silence around midnight. The sound was loud enough to wake everyone, and frightening enough that they packed up and left right away. Before leaving, they managed to record it. The noise did not match any known animal sounding deep, stretched out and changing pitch halfway through, almost as if it were attempting to communicate. Some listeners believed it was a wolf, others thought it was a person, yet wildlife specialists could not identify it. The recording later became known as the Ohio Howl and was often shared as possible Bigfoot evidence. In July 2022, another strange howl was captured in Ohio. Followed soon after by a similar clip posted by a Reddit user from the same area. The mystery remains unsolved. While staying in the Appalachian Mountains, a woman was jolted awake by a sudden sharp noise just outside her shelter. Feeling uneasy, she went out to check what had made the sound, but the porch was completely empty. As she turned to go back inside, the noise hit again, just as loud and just as close. The repeated disruption left her unsettled and unsure of what was really happening. Was someone intentionally trying to frighten her, or was it something she could not easily explain? While clearing away a former camp deep within the forest, Reddit member Holly Wizzle 311 found something disturbing. Among the scattered debris and discarded items stood a weathered wooden cross, and fastened to it was an object that seemed eerily like part of a spine. There was no message, no reason, and no one around. Whatever occurred there raised many more questions than answers. On May 15th, 2023, a Penn State student recorded an image of a mysterious figure in forested land close to campus. Considering the area's past with unusual reports, such as the famous UFO case in nearby Kecksburg, where an acorn-shaped craft was said to have fallen and been quickly taken by officials, it seems possible. Penn State is additionally linked to several reportedly haunted sites, including Schwab Auditorium, where witnesses describe apparitions and unexplained phenomena. With this context, the odd photograph might not be as unbelievable as it initially appears. Lizzie, who enjoyed long solo hikes, had heard many disturbing tales tied to the Appalachian Mountains. Out of curiosity, she and her friend Alexandria booked a small cabin near the forest.
Mike!
Late that night, around 2 a.m., they jolted awake when someone outside cried for help in another language, followed moments later by gunshots. They went still, recalling the warnings they knew and kept quiet. Would trying to help have been right, or was staying silent the safest option, obeying the unwritten code? Sydney, who often travels alone, went back to one of her first camping spots deep in the Appalachian forest. When she arrived, the place was entirely empty. She set up her equipment and began making a meal of rice and chicken when an unusual sound rang out from the trees.
Is that?
Although the noise felt unsettling, she decided to remain there for the night, and thankfully nothing else occurred. In March 2022, two young men headed into the Appalachian Mountains looking forward to a quiet night outdoors. They picked a secluded spot near an abandoned rail bridge, expecting nothing more than wind and occasional wildlife. Not long after setting up, however, strange sounds began coming from the darkness.
It's hard to tell with the wind, but it almost sounded like something definitely made some kind of noises over there. So we're gonna check it out. Occasionally snowmobilers come through here, but other than that, it's pretty remote. This is an abandoned train bridge. Okay. I almost kind of don't want to go back over there. My brother said he heard some weird things, but that's pretty weird. I've never heard a grizzly bear sound like that before. Whew. You got like chills going down your spine? Yup. I hope the camera got that. Oh baby. Okay, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to. What the hell was that?
At first, they assumed it was the breeze or a distant animal, but the noises soon became louder and closer, unlike anything they recognized. Curious, they moved toward it where it was coming from, only to realize the source seemed far more hostile than they had imagined.
Okay,
Go. That's pretty loud. That's close.
okay. So maybe.
I don't. Okay. Holy! Oh! Go! It's coming! It's coming!
Oh crap! Wait! Don't wait! Go! Wait! Holy! I think I saw it! Go! 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 Go!
As whatever it was approached, they chose to flee instead of depending on the small knives they had with them. Their trip ended suddenly as they ran out of the woods without injury. Later, some viewers suggested the video might have been staged, but the fear in their reactions made others doubt that. Whatever really happened, it was an experience they will not forget. YouTuber Joey CTV entered a deserted house deep in the forest to record a solo exploration. When he stepped inside, he called out to check if anyone was present, but the building stayed quiet.
Is anybody upstairs? Speak now. That doesn't mean that they'll speak. I just heard something. Hey, if somebody's up there, I am simply taking pictures. If you identify yourself now, I'll leave.
Moments later, movement could be heard upstairs, distinct, purposeful footsteps that made it clear he was not alone. Keeping his composure, he continued moving through the house as the sounds above him became stronger.
There's somebody walking upstairs. Who's walking upstairs?
Like someone walking back and forth on the floor above. Wanting to understand what was happening, he headed toward the staircase to look. At that moment, a sudden loud noise burst from the upper level. Startled, he rushed out of the house, shaken and uncertain about what he had just encountered. Was it only a hidden squatter inside the building, or something far more unusual? It was supposed to be a peaceful night of camping, but by morning, something felt wrong. A camper woke to find a strange man inside his vehicle. The discovery was shocking and hard to understand.
Hey, think you got the wrong camper. Hey there. Think you're in the wrong camper. Hey, did you stagger into the wrong camper last night? I don't know who you are. Somebody's probably missing you, though. We gotta get up and get ready. You're gonna have to go home. I don't know where home is. Hey, dude. Hey. I don't don't know who you are. You're in my camper.
Whoa. What am I doing in your camper, bro?
Well, I don't know. You must have slept a good one off.
I am sorry, man.
Staying calm, the camper quickly noticed the man did not seem violent, only confused and disoriented. He appeared unsure of where he was or how he had gotten there. The moment was tense, yet oddly quiet. After a short exchange, it became clear the man had likely entered the wrong camper by accident. He seemed more lost than dangerous. Thankfully, the situation ended without harm. No one was injured, and the man eventually left. Even so, the incident served as a reminder that properly securing a camper is important for personal safety. Deep in the forest and well away from the main path, an unexpected sight appeared. A small group stood among the trees, moving together in a coordinated way. It did not look like ordinary hikers taking a break. Instead, the scene seemed intentional, almost ritual-like. Seeing them in the quiet of the woods felt disturbing. She stayed silent and watched from afar for a moment, then slowly turned back and headed toward her car to leave the area. Hearing sounds like this in the middle of the night was unsettling. Paired with Appalachia's eerie reputation, it leads to a question. Was it only wildlife or something far more disturbing hidden among the trees? Tim Morozov, a Russian explorer, spent a night inside a house believed to hold a dark presence.
Так, сейчас нет сигнала. Днем пока что еще не стемнело. Получается, друзья, действительно, днем здесь активность паранормальная отсутствует. В этом доме она присутствует только ночью. Эми не пищит, значит, наверное, безопасно. Ой, черт. Вот эти все иглы снова вторгнуты. Это мучает кукол. Я сейчас это вот еще все и сломаю эти иглы. Друзья, от кукол идет небольшой сигнал. Это значит, души здесь. Оно здесь. Оно здесь.
During the daytime, nothing unusual seemed to happen, and the activity was said to appear only after nightfall. The evening began quietly until he made a disturbing discovery in the attic. There he found dolls pierced with needles, objects he believed carried a threatening energy. Soon afterward, his spirit box activated, delivering a chilling message that suggested danger. The moment left him shaken.
Твоя душа будет моей куклой.
Кто ты? Назовись. Я не боюсь тебя. Геф, погас. Что произошло, я не понимаю.
Not long after his equipment stopped working, without explanation. Footsteps were then heard moving through the house. He suspected that something or someone was nearby connected to the objects he had found earlier.
Бегает. Я подозреваю, что здесь есть какой-то человек, который вставил иголки обратно в куклы и о котором говорили души. Якобы это человек, но не совсем.
Then, without warning, He was shoved by an unseen force. Later, while reviewing the footage, he noticed a shadow moving behind him. By morning, he left the house convinced he had escaped a dark presence. A man ventured deep into the Smoky Mountains in search of the rumored feral people believed to live cut off from civilization. For decades, stories have circulated about a hidden group said to remain somewhere within these mountains. They are often described as individuals who have lived entirely off the grid, with no real contact with the outside world, surviving in the remote Appalachian wilderness. The region has long been linked to disappearances, and the exact spot where he stood was known for people vanishing without explanation. Before long, he sensed something was wrong.
As I'm moving on this trail, I hear some fucking weird ass sound. It's that clicking sound again that I've heard before. So I kind of want to use this 360 camera to see what I can find. What the fuck is that? That was the fucking scariest sound I've ever heard in my life. You all had to, the camera had to pick that up. I just heard this sound that was like...
As he walked farther along the trail, he noticed an unsettling sound, a strange clicking noise repeating in the distance. It was the same sound he had heard earlier, which prompted him to activate his 360-degree camera to monitor whatever might be nearby. Unusual movement in the trees caught his attention, followed by the clicking growing closer with every step. Then, an unknown sound suddenly echoed near him, registering as the most frightening noise he had ever heard. Its source was unclear, and he hoped the camera had captured it. The sound felt unnatural. He adjusted the camera to keep recording, trying to determine where it came from.
The problem is the humidity right now. Oh my god, there it was again. There is something over here making like a dying sound.
But thick humidity caused interference, making it difficult to see what was happening above him. Moments later, the noise returned, still impossible to identify. Something close by seemed to be producing a distressed call.
I'm kind of losing my shit right now, because as I was coming down the trail, I just heard this really, really weird sound. I slowed down, I stopped, and my lightning detector started going absolutely crazy. Now, hold on. 27 strikes. I have never had that happen.
Shortly after, his lightning detector malfunctioned and his anxiety rose quickly. As he moved farther down the trail, he heard another extremely unusual noise that forced him to slow and stop. At that moment, the detector reacted at an extreme level, displaying 27 strikes, a number he had never recorded before. Then he discovered a footprint pressed into the soil.
That's a fucking footprint. Like a human footprint. I mean, there's no doubt that's a human footprint. Where a human footprint should not fucking be. I've got movement over here.
It clearly resembled a human footprint, with no doubt it was made by a person. It appeared in a place where no one should reasonably be, especially not barefoot. Movement soon appeared nearby. Terrifying sounds continued throughout the forest, and his equipment suddenly stopped working. He fled the area, convinced that something had been watching him the entire time. The fear lingered afterward, too. On March the 17th, 2025, Wallace spent his first night camping alone in Botherthy Glen, a remote part of Scotland's West Highlands, long linked to legends of James of the Glen. He set up camp, cooked a meal, gathered firewood, and settled in for the night. Several hours later, he woke with an uneasy feeling.
During the night, I had a bit of a spooky experience. I woke up with what felt like a hand on my shoulder. I initially thought it would be the dog or one of the cats. Then I got a stark reminder I was actually in a bothy alone. I then thought it maybe be a mouse or a rat, so I flicked my shoulder to get it off. The weight lifted, but then nothing happened. No squeak or no noise of it landing on the floor.
It seemed as though a hand was resting on his shoulder. At first, he thought it might be an animal, even though he knew he was alone. Believing it could be a small creature, he brushed his shoulder to knock it away. The pressure vanished, but nothing followed. There was no noise, no movement, and no sign of anything nearby. The sensation faded, leaving him in complete silence.
After nearly 15 years, I have finally managed to do my first ever solo bothy night. And would I do it again? Probably not. Last night I just felt a little bit lonely, just wasn't quite for me. During the night I felt that hand on my shoulder. My initial thoughts was it was a mouse. Flicked my shoulder, waiting for the thud of a mouse or a rat or something. And absolutely nothing, not even a squeak. So yeah, that freaked me out a little bit. When I arrived at the bothy last night, there was a couple there just leaving. They were just day tripping with their dog. And she was telling me that James of the Glen haunts the bothy. I don't know, it's all these folklore, isn't it? Do you know what? It's probably just my imagination, but these things do sort of freak you out a little bit.
By morning, he had made it through the night. Still, he admitted the experience had shaken him deeply. After nearly 15 years, he had finally completed a solo overnight camp, yet he realized he would likely never try it again. Being alone felt more isolating than peaceful, and the unexplained moment only reinforced that feeling. Although he later considered imagination or folklore, the memory stayed with him. Late at night, a man was driving home on a remote dirt road when he suddenly felt as if something was watching him. Strange sounds moved through the darkness, so he pulled out his phone and began to record. That was when the scene was captured.
Ay. Ay, 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 ay. Niñas! Son dos niñas, no manches!
Farther ahead, two figures appeared on the road. They seemed shaped like young girls, but no faces could be seen, and their bodies stood in unnatural positions. Frightened, he stopped filming and sped away. He later believed that what he saw did not belong to the living world. Was it only a display meant to scare travelers, or did the camera record something truly unexplained that night on film? In 2021, a hiker in the United Kingdom discovered something disturbing inside an abandoned village. Baby dolls had been nailed to trees, with some hanging upside down, and others arranged in unsettling poses. He filmed the scene, but the recording revealed more than he expected. Later, viewers pointed out a pale figure briefly visible in the background before slipping into the surrounding brush. The location itself carried a grim past. It once served as a World War I military hospital, later became a pension hospital, and was eventually used as worker housing before being deserted in the 1950s. Authorities later removed the dolls, but no official explanation was ever given. Even now, the hiker does not know who or what shared the village with him that day during that strange encounter there. Tammy Laird and her 9-year-old son Sterling were driving toward a Cub Scout camp when their GPS guided them onto a rough trail in California's Sierra Nevada. The vehicle later failed, and with no phone service and no clear way out, they were stranded. Acting fast, Tammy tore a brown bedsheet into long strips and tied them to nearby branches, adding handwritten notes to mark their path. At the same time, Sterling blew his scout whistle to signal for help. After 24 tense hours, a search team found one note, followed the cloth markers, and finally located both mother and son safe inside their car. Deep in the woods, an explorer stumbled upon something strange. A jar had been tucked away among the tangled roots of a giant tree. In many traditions, legends tell of dark beings trapped inside vessels to limit their power and breaking. Such seals is believed to invite danger. The find felt less like a treasure and more like a quiet warning. Leaving it unopened may have been the safest choice. In 2014, 3 friends chose a camping trip over attending prom. During the weekend, one of them used a Polaroid camera to photograph the other 2 beside their tent. When they reviewed the picture, later an odd shadow appeared behind the fabric. Nothing strange had happened during the trip, except distant shouting from nearby drunk campers. Still, the photo showed something they could not explain, leaving the image as a lasting mystery that confused them deeply forever. That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.